All right, family, welcome back for another video. I'm your host, Locke, or you can call me Spirit. Forgive me on the background music on that last video. It's a little loud, but we got legs breaking down.
Christie was great. And Max Christie, again, it's showing Mavericks fans, hey, it wasn't just about AD and Luka. Like, Max Christie's a player, and that's why JJ Redick was having a really difficult time parting with him. I mean, I think that if they really held out to the last second, I think the Mavericks probably could have gotten Austin Reeves. Like, you put Luka Doncic on the table, you ask for the world. He didn't start the second half, and you didn't see him. And the reason was because Steve Kerr thought they were having a very difficult time with a big on the court execute. We're going to see Steph Curry. So that I didn't see anybody or hear about anybody getting ejected from the arena. So it just from the beginning, there was a lot of electricity in there. And I think part of that, let's be fair, is the Steph Curry factor. Steph Curry's in town. You don't know how many more times as a fan in that area you're going to see Steph Curry. So that probably has something to do with it because the crowd had some juice well before the game started.
All right, family, we are back, and I'm your host, Locke, or you can call me Spirit. Forgive me on the background music on the last video. So we're going to try this acapella. We might add a little bit of music, but make sure you tap in. Like, comment, subscribe, get active in the comments. I'm talking to you. You over there like,
I beg your pardon.
With that being said, we got legs dropping the T. Let's get to it.
And it wasn't negative at all. Now, the other thing that helps in that regard, when your team gets off to a great start, which Dallas did, they jump immediately, get a lead. They go down, 16-4 to start the game. I don't know what we would have heard or what the reaction would have been, but they didn't. They was the opposite. They played incredibly well out of the gate, and that sort of got everybody in a good mood, got behind their team. So just the overall vibe was not like the funeral-like atmosphere that I expected to see walking in there based on what I'd seen and heard about over the last few days. So they were positive. They're ready to support their team. It looks like, some of these people are never going to get over the fact that Luka Doncic isn't on their team anymore. That's going to be...
And that's facts.
Generational. There are going to be people, especially kids, they're teenagers, that was their favorite player, that will be their favorite player when they're 40. That's just the way it is. You're always going to have that. But overall, positivity about the team and their performance last night. So that's first. Next, Kyrie Irving, reminded people that the cupboard isn't bare. I know they traded Luka, but they still have Kyrie, who, is a spectacular talent, and some nights is the show. And he was the show last night. And he had not been shooting the ball particularly well from the three coming in. I think he was 7 for 28, something like that, from the three over his last X amount of games. And then he just absolutely catches fire from the three. Hits three in a row in a very...
Hey, comment, hashtag, how many shots did Kyrie make? How many three-pointers? My boy...
I beg your pardon.
Y'all know the boy was scrapped up.
Short period of time at one point in the third quarter. And so he was the show. Anthony Davis didn't play, obviously, but it reminds people, hey, look, we do have a pretty ridiculous tandem with a guard and a big man when Anthony Davis comes back and gets healthy. He didn't play last night. They had no bigs last night. In fact, there were long stretches in this game where the biggest guy on the court was 6'7". Both teams went super.
How y'all feel about that lineup, man? That small ball lineup that we love so much.
Shots fired. Shots small. Quentin Post for Golden State, we thought he was going to get some run. He started the game. He didn't start the second half, and you didn't see him. And the reason was because Steve Kerr thought they were having a very difficult time with a big on the court, executing the switches and the things on Clay, who got hot early, and then on Kyrie later. So they just went basically small the entire second half. And for the most part, that's what Dallas did to combat that. Dallas, the other thing about the game, too, besides Kyrie, Max Christie was great. Max Christie, again, showing Mavericks.
Hey, I need thoughts on Max Christie. Mr. Crispy around these parts.
Pardon?
I can't say his name right real fast.
Fans, hey, it wasn't just about AD and Luka. Like, Max Christie's a player, and that's why JJ Redick was having a really difficult time parting with him. I mean, I think that if they'd really held out to the last second, I think the Mavericks probably could have gotten Austin Reeves. Like, you put Luka Doncic on the table, you ask for the world, and then you wait until the last second to see if somebody's going to cave. It looks like it never even got that far. Or maybe for the Lakers, that was not negotiable. I don't know. And then at the end, maybe you go, okay.
I need to know who brokered the deal. Like, who did the negotiation? If it was completely Nico, my boy, you need to come holler at me. I got the negotiating skills on 10.
I beg your pardon.
Your boy got the mouthpiece.
Shots fired! Shots fired! Okay, well then, how about you go Max Christie if you're Dallas, but they got him. He can play. I think he's going to be a significant player for them this year and going forward. So, Adam, from the Mavericks standpoint, a great night. Kyrie was spectacular. They get a win. They needed to get a win at home with the negativity going into the game. And I think everybody had a good night. They were entertained. They got a win, and people left happy. I didn't see a whole lot of the nonsense we've been hearing about over the last couple of days.
Well, it kind of reminds you of that first game where you could tell there was like anxiety in the building, and Anthony Davis comes out right away and gives a performance. It's like everybody turns like, all right, it's excitement. We're excitement tonight. This game brought a lot of excitement too. Kyrie Irving has been the centerpiece of a handful of bad teams. Not necessarily any fault of his own. They've been on some, the early Cavs team was not very good. A couple other places. I'm so curious about him as the lead man now on a team that has good role players, has, you know, and obviously a second star Anthony Davis, where he's the main guy. And last night, 42 points is incredible, 15 to 25 shooting, efficient, 0 assists to me is kind of strange. I mean, it was just the personality of the game, but what do you make of that? 42 and 0.
Wait a minute.
Before he answers, what are your thoughts on that? No assist from your boy Kyrie? My boy went into that assassin mode.
It was funny. He did a post game talk back with Scott Van Pelt. He did it right before I did mine. So I was sitting there listening to him, waiting to talk to Scott myself. And that's the first thing he did was apologize for not having any assists. And it was funny. Scott made a joke about it. I think when you go 50 for 25 and go for 42 and carry the offense like that, I think you're good without getting assists. But look, I think it shows you, guys like that, you're a little self-conscious about that. Look, he did what was required of him in this game. And I will say this, he would have had some.
Hey, Kyrie was in the zone. He went tunnel vision on them boys, straight Kodak Black.
Assists, but a good portion of the second half, the Golden State Warriors were running people at him. If he got single coverage anywhere on the court, they were running the closest defender at him to make him give it up. So when you give it up, that first guy most likely out of a trap is not going to have the shot. Like that guy's got to now go make a play. He'll end up getting the assist if there is one to be had. And if the ball did come back to Kyrie Irving on those possessions, now you're deep into the clock. So he's obviously just going to go hunt a shot. So I think Golden State's defense had something to do with that anomaly of a 0 in the assist column. I don't think that anybody cared for the Dallas Mavericks. None of the fans didn't matter. Because when three-point shooting was incredible, but it was also, he had 2 or 3 of those just, patented Kyrie finishes where he jumps and then jumps in the air and manipulates the ball all over the place and comes on the other side gets it up on the other side of the glass with English, and you're like, how in the world did he get that ball to go in? So he had some of that, provided all of the entertainment. But I agree with you. Look, Kyrie, think about his arc of his career. Early, draft him, bad team, you're going to be the star of the Cleveland Cavaliers, like as the lead guy. Oh, wait a second. We got LeBron coming in. We're going to try to win a championship. So now you're going to go ride shotgun with LeBron for a little bit and be in that second lane. Good lane for him. Yeah. Then he leaves there, goes to Boston. Okay, you're the top guy again. Got these young.
Hey, this is a question for all the basketball family. Who won the championship with LeBron and Kyrie? Was it the shot or was it LeBron? Hashtag LeBron or hashtag Kyrie? Drop it in the comments below. Let your voice be heard.
These young forwards, we need you to lead them and be, and he's like, I'm really kind of like just to go ball. You got to lead guys. That's hard. Gets out of there, goes to Brooklyn, back in that lane again. You got KD, you got Harden, like, okay. And then, of course, ends up in this situation. This is now, again, the first time since Boston look, and AD is a different kind of player, but he's kind of back in that role again. Yeah. And so it's going to be interesting to see. You're right. For him to.
Hey, who is our number one option? Is it AD or is it Kyrie? All I got to say to that is this.
I don't need help.
Since Boston, look, and AD is a different kind of player, but he's kind of back in that role again. Yeah. And so it's going to be interesting to see. You're right, for him to navigate going forward. I don't know, did he get the 40 minutes last night? Because if he did, that's his 5th straight game over 40 minutes. So I mean, they've been wearing him out. He's been playing the whole fourth.
Hey, I said this in my last video or the last stream, because in the press conference, Kyrie got to the podium and the first thing he started talking about was time. That means he's out there putting in a lot of time on that court.
Quarter every night.
AD's
going to help a lot in that regard, but that will be interesting to see how Kyrie at this stage of his career, probably more mature, a little wiser, like better leader, will handle this a little bit better this time around as the focal point as far as the guy on the ball. AD is going to have a lot of stuff run through him, but Kyrie has the ball. It's his show. He's going to be the guy that's really going to set the tempo for them.
Hashtag AD show or Kyrie show.
And he hasn't really been in that position since he was in Boston, where all of this falls on his plate.
Well, 42 points and 40 minutes. This is this fear about Anthony Davis being out is they're not in position to be able to coast through the tape. They're going to have to sprint because they're in a battle right now to get out of the play-in and into the playoffs, or just to hold your position. So he's going to have to play a lot of these minutes by the time Anthony Davis comes back. And again, that's tough to put on a guard, his size and his
in there. And I think part
battle right now to get out of the play-in and into the playoffs, or just to hold your position. So he's going to have to play a lot of these minutes by the time Anthony Davis comes back. And again, that's tough to put on a guard, his size and his age. But Max Christie, 17 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. I know that you really like what you're seeing from him. What is it about his game that you think is so promising?
He's got the incredible amount of confidence. He had a play that really mattered middle of the fourth quarter where he got ISO'd against Jimmy Butler, like at the 3-point line, and he just stepped him, went left, 2 dribbles, pull up, mid-range, 18-footer, like Jimmy Butler draped all over him, and it was like he did it like it was absolutely nothing, like he totally expected to do that. His 3-point shooting has really emerged. He didn't get that many opportunities with the Lakers, but you look at the opportunities he's getting now. He's playing 25, 30 minutes a night. He was on fire from the 360, I think.
And just imagine he's only played 3 quarters with AD. When AD comes back, man, we're going to see some great things. Who do you think will be our starting 2? Do you think it's going to be Chrissy and then starting 2 spot? Caleb Martin, Jaden Hardy? I mean, we might even have some B-Will people out there.
I think 63% or something he was shooting from 3 coming into the game since he got to Dallas with a high volume. So I didn't know he could shoot it that relaxed, that comfortably at that percentage. He's wiry, strong, so he's going to be a good defender. He's a conscientious defender. He just has a very stoic look on his face. Like I just like guys that you can see it's all business to him. And he hasn't been fazed by all this that has happened. In some ways, maybe he's actually embraced it because it's a better opportunity for him for playing time, for importance. I think he's got a bigger profile here than he would have had in LA.
If we go to the other side, Jimmy Butler's obviously still trying to figure out where he belongs. The Warriors, what their new team looks like. What did you see from them, and what's kind of your early read on what's going to be the challenges for them?
One thing that jumped out was how good a shape Jimmy Butler's in. I mean, you think about what he's been through the last month. He's barely played. I mean, he's kept getting suspended. He come back, play, suspension. So he hasn't played a lot. And I was like, didn't know if I'd be able to see that. Steve Kerr did a pretty good job of staggering him and Curry for the most part. They started the game, started the third, but then they come out early, and then they go back and forth for each other a little bit. And then, of course, they finish the half and the end of the game. So he was in great shape. He was flying all over the court. It was interesting that he wasn't getting to the line and gobbling up the free throws the way he had been his first two games. He had 28 free throw attempts his first two games. And they kept him pretty much in check in that regard without putting him to the line. So I didn't get to see him. Like, that part of his game is so important to what they're going to do. Defensively, it rests Curry, all those trips to the free throw line. He's fresher. He didn't do that, but I did say.
Well, watching Steph Curry last night made me tired. I was like, I beg your pardon. Slow down, my boy.
This is an interesting thing they have now. They haven't had this since Durant, which is a mid-range player that they can give the ball to in an ISO if you want a big bucket and let him just go. And he's a very good passer, a very underrated passer. Yeah. He draws a lot of attention on his drives, man, when he ISOs, and he will get the ball out. And if you make mistakes against the Warriors, like, that's going to lead to something good. So I just think overall he's going to fit well with their offense. And he made one mistake last night. He had the biggest play of the game. I mean, he drives late. Kyrie steps in to take that charge. It was either an and one or it's a charge. So it was a big play. They went to the review. And I looked at me on film. Yes, Kyrie squared him up, did a great job.
It was so big. Jimmy Butler had an accident. It's on the stream. Check out the stream.
Anticipating it, but he kind of was coming from the top of the key down the lane, and he had the right hand. If he just kept going, Kyrie Irving was coming from his left side. Kyrie Irving would have been right there on his left shoulder. He would have gone right through him to the rim. Instead, for some reason, he did like a Euro step where he took it back across his body to the left, and that's exactly where Kyrie Irving was coming from. So he just stopped, and then Jimmy Butler ran him over. So I think if he had that play over again, it's probably a different outcome to the game, because I think he gets to the rim, whether it's a layup or an and one, they take the lead, and hey, they get a stop, they win the game. So big momentum play in the game, obviously. But all things considered, everybody, I talked to a lot of people around the team, Kerr especially, thrilled with what they've seen out of him, thrilled with what he's going to bring to their team, toughness and edge.
I need to figure out what's going on. Maybe Jimmy ignited a fire under Kerr because he was out there cussing last night. The boy was cussing.
Two-way player, great instincts, and he's a very good passer. So he fits in very well with the way that they want to play, with quick reads and reactions off of all their splits and screens and guys running around. Jimmy Butler can make those reads. So it's gonna work out well. It didn't last night because Kyrie was just too good, and Golden State had that play at the end of the game. It could have gone either way, went against them.
For Golden State, I'm curious how much, obviously three-point shooting is a huge part of any team that has Steph Curry, a huge part of their identity, but nobody shot the ball well last night for them, other than Gary Payton, who goes 2 of 3, which you don't really expect, but you get 2 of 8 from Moses Moody, 1 of 6 from Buddy Hield, 4 of 13 from Steph. Are they going to win? Can they win games without making threes, I guess is my question.
No, I don't think. I think they're going to have a really difficult time doing that. And look, I think, they're going to be playing.
Can the Golden State Warriors win without making threes?
Smaller lineups, I think more. It's just going to be tough to try to make shot because they were great on the offensive glass last night. So of the two teams that both went small, Golden State was much more physical on the glass, and its offensive rebound kept them in the game to a large extent. Look, they're still going to throw Looney out there sometimes, and Draymond is used to playing like the 5, but he's only 6'6", 6'7". He plays center a lot throughout his career. Trace Jackson Davis, every now and then they'll sprinkle those guys in at Quentin post, but they're going to play small too. But yeah, the 3-point shooting critical for them. A couple things about some of those guys, like Buddy Hield. Interesting number on him. Think about this. Buddy Hield had 6 games of 20 or more points in his first 7 games to start the season.
Yeah,
he has had one. He's had one since one the rest of the year, and he looked bad last night. And a couple times, it was weird because it wasn't on shooting stuff. It was cuts. He made 2 cuts, and ended up being a turnover by Steph, and another one where the ball got deflected. So they got the ball back, went out of bounds. But on one of Steph was really vocally like chewing him out about something with that cut, and then 2 minutes later, Draymond tried to hit him on a cut, and Draymond went over, and he was chewing him out. And so I think they're just frustrated with how he's playing.
And that's facts.
Because defensively, he's going to get torched, and he has a night where he doesn't contribute anything offensively. So they're in a bad spot with him right now, the way he's playing. And by the way, he's going to go into All-Star weekend and do the 3-point shootout at the worst time possible, the way he feels right now. So we'll see how that
Maybe
goes.
Maybe he'll get back, though. Maybe he gets back.
The other thing is I wanted to mention Curry. We were talking a lot about Curry, 4 straight 30-point games coming into the game. But the truth is, he's only shooting 41% in those games. He's taking 26 shots a night over the previous 4 games. So he's getting to his number, but it has not been efficient. And he did it again last night. Struggled. And look, I credited. I thought Dallas was really up in him, and they really pressured him, and they contested everything. He got that one stretch. It was important in the fourth quarter. He got loose, and he basically erased that lead. They were down double digits. He erased that lead pretty much by himself. But that was about it as far as a burst out of him. So despite the fact he's putting up good numbers, he has not been playing efficiently. So maybe that's where Jimmy Butler can help the more they play together. It's only 3 games. So it'll get better, I think, as time goes. And I think Jimmy Butler will help Steph be more efficient the more.
All right, family, that is it for this. All right, family, that is it for this video. Make sure you like, subscribe, drop in the comments below. Say what's up or an emoji. Just let your boy know you're out there. Until next time, holla.